Hey guys, what's going on? I hope you guys enjoyed my recent movie review, The Father. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. Anybody who is asking, I know today the posting of this video will be March 31st. Yes, I will be reviewing Godzilla vs. Kong. I'll be reviewing it on April 1st, so it's going to be right after this video gets posted. The reason for that is because we have so many news stories to talk about in this video that I'd rather, and a lot of which that I really want to talk about, that I'd rather not have this just hanging. And then, because I know a bunch of news stories are probably going to come out in regards to the release of like Godzilla vs. Kong and a bunch of other things that potentially will probably be announced with said release now being out to the public. So I just want to get some of these news stories done so I can, get ready for the next news topic episode. So with all that being said, we're just going to get right into it because there are so many stories, a lot of stories for this week, and we're just going to dive right into them. More or less where we picked up last were with the Disney recent schedule changes that they have done, because there's now a couple of news stories that are out there in regards to that, and we're going to start off with what might be for the future of Disney, according to analysts and insiders. There was an article that was posted from the Hollywood Reporter, if I'm not mistaken, and I want to just read a small bit from that article and tell you guys what I glean from that and what may or may not be the future for potentially a couple of other Disney films, and then we're going to also get into a couple of other topics that kind of also factor into this particular topic. But in talking about the analysts and the insiders, there was a Hollywood Reporter article that went out, and this is what they had to say. It's a lot to read, so bear with me. So we're going to start. Quote, publicly, there was no uproar among theater owners, nor a door reaction from Wall Street. All sides are resigned to the fact that every Hollywood studio is going to experiment with different release models as long as the pandemic continues. And although the landscape may be improving in the US, where movie theaters have at last reopened at Los Angeles and New York City, Europe remains in a crisis. It's also possible that major entertainment conglomerates, sorry if I missaid that, are being advised on the long-range implications of the pandemic and need to hedge the bets, as one film financer tells the Hollywood Reporter. Black Widow is an expensive movie. It's not surprising they are pushing back the date, says Wall Street analyst Eric Handler of MKM Partners. Disney isn't comfortable with releasing a $200 million plus movie when there is so much uncertainty. Handler and others believe foremost that Disney is using the pandemic era to test the appetite for premium video on demand. Black Widow and Cruella provide unique opportunities. This year is all about experimentation, he says. Disney isn't abandoning exhibitors. We'll talk about that in a second. Disney likewise offered Mulan and Raya and the Last Dragon to Disney Plus subscribers for $30, but Black Widow is the first superhero pick to try its luck on premium video on demand in those countries where the streaming service is available. Analysts believe theater chains can't afford to pass up playing Cruella or Black Widow. Nevertheless, exhibitors like Cinemark and Harkins, both based in the US, are currently refusing to play Disney's Raya and the Last Dragon because the chains wanted better terms than usual, since Raya is also playing on Disney+. According to several sources, Warner Brothers is offering more generous terms to theater circuits, or notably more than 55% of each ticket sold. Remember that's a key thing to talk about later, that are playing its 2021 slate in exchange for a day and date release on HBO Max. Disney, however, this is important, hasn't done the same to date. Disney delayed a total of 6 films this week. 4 are staying on this year's calendar, while 2 are moving to 2022, including Death on the Nile, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Disney's Black Widow change prompted speculation as to the fate of other high-profile early summer tentpoles. Paramount's A Quiet Place Part 2 is set to open Memorial Day weekend on May 28th, and Universal will unveil F9, the next installment in the Fast and Furious franchise, on June 25th. Sources tell the Hollywood Reporter that there are no plans as of right now to move either film or to engineer a dual home big screen release. While there hasn't been the same blistering anger expressed over Disney's Black Widow or Cruella decision, insiders say many theater owners weren't exactly happy. Nevertheless, they comprehend that every studio is pursuing a different model. That's kind of bullshit. Particularly during the great streaming arms race. There's not much theaters can do, says Handler. That's more or less the truth. Everyone has made their big moves. Businesses will look at what works, and then they will be more right-sizing, says one studio veteran. Adds another studio distributor. There will no longer be a cookie-cutter approach, and every film will be treated differently. In his notes to investors, a Wall Street analyst, Eric Wold of B. Riley Securities, says Disney's day-and-day test of Black Widow, a well-known IP, will provide the entertainment Goliath with, quote, valuable movie demand data for both sides of the table that would influence future decisions. Another source speculates that Disney wants to hedge its bets in case Europe remains locked down, while the U.S. imposes new restrictions. Disney is experimenting with day-and-day economics. Disney expects recurring shutdowns for years until most of the globe has been vaccinated. The pandemic is still causing massive exhibition issues, the source adds. We will not see a picture be released on 35,000 plus screens anytime soon. So, that was a lot of reading. Now, on face value, it looks like that it just sounds like per usual, that Disney is going to be still experimenting with their hybrid releases as they're now moving forward with like Black Widow and Cruella. Well, to me, I read it a little bit differently, which is there are three main points that I took out of this article, which is this. Number one is this is the main reason why I'm bringing this up, and I think you're probably going to hear this in a few days. Disney is likely abandoning theater chains in favor for their own interests, and because according to the article, at least how I read it, once they pulled Black Widow off as an exclusive theatrical release, that was them making a statement to theaters. It's a warning, basically. If everything doesn't get back to some normalcy soon, we will have to resort to certain measures like hybrid releases, which is a clear benefit for us, Disney, and not for them, theater chains. Also, if Disney is not providing theater chains a higher gross of the ticket percentage of tickets sold, and playing ball like WB is reportedly doing, that is a clear statement that they are abandoning theaters for their own interest. Because I've always said this, you will need theaters eventually. Okay, studios cannot rely on streaming or these types of release models to bring in the money they need to support themselves and to finance their next projects, especially if you're releasing tentpoles. You are guaranteed to lose money always by using these models. Always. Nothing has been proven. No system, no Wonder Woman 1984, nothing has proven for this to be successful. Godzilla vs. Kong might actually pave the way to be the first successful crack at it, but that's to be seen. Or Black Widow. But we have to use these systems now because, well, we have no choice. I mean, we have to. The worst decision is the best decision. But becoming reliant and thinking that we can perform without theaters is completely naive and is going to bite you later if you continue with that mentality. So I think that it is likely that they're probably going to abandon theater chains, and I'm not digging that mentality that they're bearing with it. The second thing that I have to bring up with it is the theaters have to comply this time. They have to. As you saw in the as I was reading that article, I was like, there's clearly some bullshit going on. Obviously, the theaters are very upset. It's not like that they comprehended early. No, they're clearly very, very upset because, you're losing a huge piece of content and losing all the benefits to that piece of content. But this is not the HBO Max situation where everybody, like actors, producers, writers, distributors, investors, etc., everyone took a bite out of that shit sandwich, and WB just said goodbye for the whole year. This is a situation that, yes, is a big blow for theaters, but it's all for one piece of content, Black Widow. Not really much with Cruella. I mean, Cruella could have also benefited, who knows? That's more or less due to perception, but Black Widow was guaranteed to make big bucks, regardless of reception. One piece of content, though, Black Widow, that also has loads of value towards them and their company, and they're not going to lose whatever possible gain they may get from it in the summer season, even if it's this small, because they're basically in a take it or leave it type situation, and the theaters understand this, and thus that's why they haven't made a public stink, or publicly made a stink about it. I mean, it sucks, but it's the situation that they're in now. My third point that I want to bring up is this. Disney is not the bad guy. Even though I was painting them in that light just now, they are not the bad guy because they're in a no-win situation here. We're damned if we do it and we're damned if we don't. Paranoia is going to be the dominant factor moving forward, and Disney doesn't want to risk it with their biggest possible moneymaker of this year. So they have to make these decisions and make these choices for their interest, which is standard business practice. I just hate that the mentality that some of these people are having with these release models. We have to remember it's a temporary form of release. It will not last forever or work as the dominant hub of where your money comes from. You will always fall short in returns because basically, to sum it up, Disney is looking to possibly pull out more titles as theatrical exclusives and have them become hybrid releases in the future for the hope of more financial gain. And I don't like that is the idea moving forward, or at least the potential idea moving forward, but because you're guaranteed to hear more from Disney in the next few weeks. It smells like a big announcement is coming. So just be on the lookout for a big announcement coming up soon. But yeah, I don't like that this is the mentality, but it's the world we live in, so I can't really fault them, but that I just don't like that that's where we're at, basically. But to add on to the Disney stuff that's been going on, Pixar has a couple things to say, particularly some employees, because according to a Hollywood Reporter on Twitter, Pixar employees are reportedly upset with the current decisions by Disney. They feel that they are being treated unfairly with their releases. And that they deserve an upcharge for some reason on their products or on their projects on Disney Plus. Here's my thoughts on that. They should honestly be happy and grateful they aren't getting charged. I mean, yes, it's disheartening to not get a theatrical run, but the ball is in their park. They're more likely to make money because there is no fee attached to it. All they gotta do is deliver a great story. Look at Soul. Soul was the most streamed piece of content of December of 2020. Raya wasn't. Black Widow might. Mulan was not. So Luca will be. I mean, it will definitely be up on the charts because it is basically free if you have Disney Plus. So I think that Pixar. They say they were demoralized, and I was like, no, I don't think that's the. I don't think that, I mean, again, you could feel how you feel, but I personally wouldn't feel that way. I would personally think that, hey, my piece of content will be released somewhere, and I will not have to worry about, going against my audience's interest, because an audience is way more compelled to pay $6 than $40 basically for a film. So yeah, and the results prove it. So, I think that they're in a better state than Black Widow or Cruella, to be honest. But that's just my personal opinion. And then the last part that I want to talk about in regards to this whole Disney shakeup that was happening is the thing that we alluded to in the article, and it's something that I've actually not talked about because it's just stuff that is up in the air, and that is, of course, the Armie Hammer situation. We're not going to get into the details about what's been going on with Armie Hammer. That's separate stuff, and I'm not going to really get into that. But we're mainly going to talk about one of his films that is coming out, and that is, of course, Death on the Nile. Now, Variety actually came out today, the 30th, and put out an article in regards to the status of Death on the Nile and what might be the future for Death on the Nile. So, according to Variety, quote, one source familiar with an early cut of Death on the Nile said Hammer's role is significant to the point of being the film's male lead. The studio is not currently considering a reshoot or recasting his role, another insider with knowledge of the project said. Reshoots, after all, could cost tens of millions and would be nearly impossible to pull off given the package schedules of the ensemble, which includes Annette Bening, iconic comedy duo Dawn French and Jennifer Saunders, Game of Thrones star Rose Leslie, and Sophie Okonedo, I think they say her last name. It seems like the only way to go with this is to come out front and say hundreds of people worked on this project and we're not scrapping it because of one individual, said a rival studio executive, who also suspected the film might forego a theatrical release entirely and premiere exclusively on its streaming service, Hulu. Disney declined to comment on the matter. So it seems like that Disney is not looking to pursue basically an all the money in the world type solution, which is just simply recasting the role, because I've not seen All the Money in the World, but from what I've heard about that role, it was a small one. So it was in theory possible to reshoot that role, but it appears like that Hammer's role is very significant, as they said, to the point being the male lead. So it's nearly impossible to reshoot his scenes, basically. And from what the executive had to say, I personally agree with him 100%, because one individual's alleged actions, remember, allegedly, one individual's alleged actions shouldn't sink the whole film and production that came with it, nor should it result in spending more money to just recast a substantial role. Because spending more money because remember, we're also spending money into something that wasn't guaranteed big returns in the first place. I mean, Death on the Nile was not a film that studios were thinking, we're going to make a lot of dough on this. No, they saw some opportunity with doing a sequel, but they know in the day it's like pocket change, Death on the Nile, but nothing substantial. Now, this situation also, or at least my thoughts also apply to Disney as well, with how they choose to release this movie, because Hammer's allegations should not force Disney to change their strategy. Okay, taking it to Hulu, I think they should decide for themselves and see where they believe the film will make them money, not online journalists or media or anything like that. They should decide for themselves whether they want it to be a theatrical release or a streaming exclusive or hybrid release. That should be up to them. And this also applies to Kenneth Branagh and the studio. Don't change your story and vision because of one dude, okay? Yes, it is a little bit damaging in terms of possible financial gain, but release what you believe together, obviously, because this is a business first, to be your best work and present the best story possible regardless who's on screen. Your story should not be compromised because of something that happened that you had no control of. So that's just my 2 cents on that. I think that I think the solution is simple. You just release the film. I think just release the film. I don't give a shit about, I watch the film for the film. I separate the art from the artist. I know some people don't do that, and that's fine. They're allowed to feel that way. I personally don't feel that way. I feel that if you watch something, you're watching a piece of work. You're not watching an artist's, obviously there's expression and a lot of perspective from said piece that reflects the artist, but what you are watching is his own entity, okay? And that should not, you should not, wait, how should I put this? The Pianist was my favorite film of the 2000s era. Roman Polanski, I know, is someone that I would never talk to. But Roman Polanski, what he has done does not compromise my love for The Pianist, because I love The Pianist. I think it is a masterpiece of work. So I think that more people need to start doing that, and hopefully Death on the Nile, hopefully the reception and the criticism is fair. That's what I'm saying. I hope it does nothing to factor in with Armie Hammer. I hope that it actually gives everybody a fair shot. Yes, even Armie Hammer, if he puts in a great performance, say that he puts in a great performance. If he puts in a shitty performance, say that he puts in a shitty performance. You always got to play a fair game when watching a film. Never compromise your thoughts on the film just because someone or something happened on the film or somebody's, don't let outside stuff influence your feelings. So that's just my opinion on film, on watching movies. Just watch it for what it is. You express how you feel, and that should be it. Okay? Don't let anybody else influence that, because that's its own entity. The artist is another entity, so you view those differently and accordingly. That's just me. Like I said, I love The Pianist. I don't like Roman Polanski, so there you go. Okay, now that's pretty much it for all the Disney stuff. So now we're gonna pretty much hit a bunch of other small topics for today. We've got the first trailer for the Suicide Squad. Of course, the Suicide Squad, speaking of hybrid releases, will be released on HBO Max on August 6th of this year. Obviously, will be released in theaters as well, starring, of course, Idris Elba, Margot Robbie, Pete Davidson, John Cena, Jai Courtney, Joel Cunningham, Viola Davis. Yes, Sylvester Stallone is playing King Shark. Big cast, big ensemble. I did not love the first Suicide Squad. I thought it was the weakest of the DCEU films. Not my personal favorite. It wasn't a terrible film. I don't hate the DCEU. I find the films to be average at best. But Suicide Squad was definitely my least favorite film. So going into the trailer, I was seeing how they're going to differentiate themselves. With James Gunn directing, it was cool, but it was also scary because I was hoping that he would bring a different flavor, and that is the highlight of the trailer. It has a different tone, a little bit of a different tone, a little different style. It's in James Gunn's wheelhouse, but it looks like fun. However, I do think the trailer was not really well edited. I don't think it was a really solid trailer in my opinion, but it looks like fun. It looks like fun. I'm hoping that it delivers, because it looks like it could be a lot of fun. So I enjoyed the trailer. I thought it was a good trailer, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm glad that it's rated R. And I'm curious to see how the camaraderie and the chemistry of all these characters. And I'm curious to see if John Cena is the highlight, because he's got his spin-off series coming out on HBO Max. So curious to know, if he's like the highlight or something, or if he's like going to be a fan favorite. Who knows? But yeah, I dug the Suicide Squad trailer. Just in terms of the entertainment value, the actual technical beats, not so much. I'm sorry, or a moth just got in my room. So I wasn't. Yeah, sorry. I think I killed it. I think I did. Yeah, I did. Okay. Okay, sorry. I literally just smacked it if you didn't see it. Okay. Anyways, all right, let's get into some other news. So, we've got two getting ahead of myself. Two films in development. I'm going to touch on the first one, which is Ghost of Tsushima. We're getting a Ghost of Tsushima adaptation. I personally have not played the game, but I've seen lots of gameplay from it, and it looks great. And I think the possibilities are very, very promising. Chad Stahelski, the director of the John Wick films, all three of the John Wick films thus far, is set to direct the project, and that really has me excited. I'm really happy to hear that they had him attached to this project, because the choreography is definitely a huge element in Ghost of Tsushima. And I just hope that he delivers the story purposes, because he's also a good storyteller. From the John Wick films, yes, the John Wick films are all about the choreography and the fight scenes, but there is a good narrative at play there. It's not solid narrative stuff, like absolutely gripping narrative stuff, but it's enough to keep you afloat. But I'm hoping that it's more narrative centric for Ghost of Tsushima versus the choreography. I still want some great choreography, but I really want it to be narrative based. And of course, I hope it's like based off like the great Akira Kurosawa. Like I really hope that they get really dive into the samurai elements and not just be some run of the mill, oh guys with swords type thing. Really really commit. Do something like Kurosawa's work, like a Seven Samurai or I'm trying to remember that other film, like a Yojimbo. I really want them to dive into those realms, like the Lone Rangers. I really want to see those guys again because the samurai were the cowboys, because the cowboys are the samurais and the samurais are the cowboys. It's always like the flip flop um, because I believe the samurais were the original cowboys, and then the cowboys, were kind of like the U.S. version to samurais. The U.S. has the cowboys, and Japan had the samurais. But in essence, they're both Lone Rangers. Um, and I hope that's what the type of angle is for Ghost of Tsushima, showing off that these Lone Rangers. And obviously, there's a different story also with Ghost of Tsushima. There's a different element to it, but I hope that they definitely commit to the idea of what it means to be a samurai and what it means to live in this world, like in the veins of Akira Kurosawa's work. So yeah, I'm excited for Ghost of Tsushima. I'm very very excited, and the possibilities are very very promising for me. So all right, next film that was announced that's in development is Thundercats. We are getting a Thundercats film. Adam Wingard, yes, the director of Godzilla vs. Kong, is set to direct and co-write the project. And according to Deadline, it will be a hybrid of CGI and animation. So it looks like it's going to be um, basically an animated film or some live action CGI. I don't know what that means, um, but yeah, this sounds like to me. I don't want to. I'm not fully familiar with what Thundercats is. Is it? It's not a spinoff of He-Man, right? It's a separate thing because if it is, I think this could be the next He-Man if done properly. Which, by the way, is that film even coming out? Is that film even still existing? The He-Man film that they're still doing, is that still a thing? Because last I heard was like Noah Cemetery. I can't pronounce his last name. Last I saw, he was supposedly the new He-Man, but then nothing came out of that. Nothing else happened, so I have no idea. But yeah, so Thundercats movie is happening, and I don't know anything about it, but some of the designs online look kind of neat. So and it's good to see that Adam Wingard's getting some bigger work. Obviously, with Godzilla vs. Kong, he was able to get some more work, and I'll be able to see it tomorrow, hopefully, and see if it's good work he's producing. But yeah, so we're getting a Thundercats film, and this could be like the next He-Man or something, or like the next franchise material. So we'll see. Speaking of franchises, let's get into Marvel and DC, because there was a couple of things that happened in the world of Marvel and DC. First of which, with Marvel, Russell Crowe has been casted in Thor: Love and Thunder. This is reportedly a cameo appearance. So before you all get excited, this is a cameo appearance, not anything substantial. And the story broke on Deadline, and it's weird because the way they phrased it in the article, it sounds like it was like a piece of news that kind of leaked out, and they just stumbled upon it. Like a bunch of journalists like stumbled upon it, and they were just like, "We have this stuff, we have this information. Let's just put it out." It seemed like something that was not supposed to be out there, and they just reported on it. I'm pretty sure Taika Waititi right now is just like, God damn it, man, that was supposed to be a surprise. But even in the article, they admit, they're like, yeah, this was supposed to be a surprise. So kind of a dickish thing to say in your article, but whatever. But hey, they're journalists; they got to get their clicks. So, but yeah, Russell Crowe will be in the film, so that's cool. It's a cameo appearance, so I can't really say like, yay, it's just a cameo appearance. I'm still excited for the movie, but it's a cameo appearance, so I can't really like say like. But speaking of significant castings, though, shifting over to DC, Pierce Brosnan will be playing Dr. Fate in Black Adam. So, from what I have heard, though, they are supposedly gearing to film in April. So that's what I heard what's happening. And, of course, with the recent announcement, Black Adam will be released on July 29th, 2022. Now, don't get me wrong. I think this is a solid casting. I think that Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate is a solid casting. As a matter of fact, I was actually watching some of the story stuff from Injustice 2. Um, not just tonight. I don't know why I had it. Um, I just had interest to just watch that Injustice 2 like cutscenes. It's just some of them, and I stumbled upon Doctor Fate. And knowing about Pierce Brosnan, I was like, oh yeah, that's a solid casting. So, um, but I am a little worried because this is starting to sound a little busy in terms of a story because we have Black Adam, we have Hawkman, we have Doctor Fate, and then some other characters probably. So I hope it is centralized and not another Batman vs Superman situation where we just have a bunch of characters and it doesn't really have enough consistency and have enough centralized focus. I hope it's centralized, and I hope that we're more focused on Black Adam. Um, so yeah, I hope that's the case. But I like the Pierce Brosnan's Doctor Fate. That's all casting in my opinion. So all right, two more stories. Second to last is a DC story, and that is in regards to the Flash. Um, Billy Crudup, who played Henry Allen in Justice League and the recent Snyder Cut, he will not be playing the Flash. He will not be playing Henry Allen in the Flash movie. Due to some scheduling conflicts, he has now been recast with Ron Livingston, and he'll be playing Henry Allen in the Flash. Now, I actually dug Billy Crudup as Henry, particularly in the Snyder Cut. I thought he was good in it. Not great. I mean, he had like a small part in it, but he was good. He was good for what I saw. Um, I'm not familiar with Ron Levinson, so I can't say. This is also kind of a small part. At least I think it's going to be a small part. So I don't know. But for anybody who has seen Ron Levinson's work, you guys let me know if his work is good. But this is going to be a small role. It's going to have appearances. It's important for the story, but in terms of screen time, it's going to be a very small thing. So not really sure if it's going to. How am I putting this? I don't have much opinion on the casting just because I'm not familiar with the guy's work, so you know. But I kind of wish that Billy Crudup was Henry Allen because I liked him. So, but yeah, I'm excited for the Flash movie. I'm excited to see what they do with it. I believe they're gearing up to film very soon as well. I think during the summertime. But we'll see. But yeah, that's the recent news on the Flash. And the last bit of news we're going to talk about is about the Princess Diana biopic. We had a new picture of Kristen Stewart as Princess Diana. They are currently almost done with shooting, so they're going to wrap up, I assume, probably by the end of April or something. The picture looks great. I am very excited for the story in this project. It is so filled with potential. The talent behind it has got me so hyped. And I love the pictures of Kristen Stewart as Princess Diana. She is a great actress, and I am really, really excited to see what she delivers with Princess Diana. And just the director, the costume designer, the Johnny Greenwood bringing it as a composer. I am very, very excited to see what they do here with this project because it's filled with potential and filled with promising, just filled with potential. I don't have any other words for it. So I'm really, really excited to see this movie, and I cannot wait to see the footage for it once we get that first trailer. So, all right, that is pretty much it for the news today, guys. A bunch of things are going on with Disney and a lot of stuff going on in the DC universe and with Marvel and all that stuff. You guys let me know all your thoughts about all this Disney stuff going on. And, of course, yes, I'll be reviewing Godzilla vs. Kong. No spoilers. I'll be watching it tonight and then posting my review for April 1st. That's going to be it for today, guys. Let me know about all your thoughts on all these topics. And, of course, be safe, be protected, social distancing, wash your hands. I'm so sorry. I'm so tired right now. Wash your hands all the time, and we'll get through this together, guys. I'm going to go hit the hay because I am too tired right now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.